What's up, you guys? My name is JT. I'm a singer and songwriter for Famous Last Words and PostScript, and today I'm going to be going over this beast of a vocal plugin. It's called Howard Benson Vocals, just released by Joey Sturgis Tones. Real quick, thank you, Joey, for sending this to me. Super pumped. You guys did such an awesome job. So what Joey and Howard did, for those of you who are just learning about this plugin, is they basically created a vocal chain, a whole vocal chain, in one plugin. It saves you so much CPU power. Like if you have a huge vocal chain, which a lot of us do to get a nice crisp shimmery kind of sound, it can be really bog down your computer and use a lot of CPU. This condenses it all into one plugin. And it makes just the performance on your computer so much better, which is huge, especially if you have a not very powerful computer. So before I dive into this too much, I want to tell you guys a little bit about my experience. I am very new to vocal production and production in general. I've written a lot of songs, I've recorded a bunch my entire life basically, and before I'd write on my phone. Like I'd have this one program called Music Studio, and it was great. It was super simple, basic MIDI stuff. You couldn't really do that much with it, and definitely not record audio. You could, there was an option, but it was garbage, absolutely terrible. So I moved to Ableton, got my big boy pants on, and tried to do more professional stuff. And with that comes recording vocals, and it's something I struggled a whole lot with. I'd have a super long vocal chain, like I was saying, and I wouldn't know like what order the effects and the plugins should go in, and it got to this point where I was just so frustrated. So having something like this new plugin, it's amazing. So without further ado, let's open this up and check it out. So okay, here we go. So this is the plugin. As you can see, it's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 little modules here. You can't move them around, but that's okay because this order of operations here works great. And it's really, when you look at it, it's so simple. It's just the GUI is so nice to look at. It's not overwhelming at all, because I've dealt with that with some plugins. I open it up and I'm like, I don't know what to do with this. And you almost don't even want to touch it anymore because it's just like, what are you supposed to do with it? But this, it's pretty self-explanatory, and it looks great. So let's go over the song really quick. I wrote this song, Joey. I wrote the song for you, well, for this video. The vocal part I did, it's like a pretty dynamic vocal part, kind of some little whispery singing, some more powerful parts, and it really shows what this as a plugin can do. To give you that really professional sound. So let's first play it. I'll turn it off, and we'll see what it sounds like without anything. I think I've turned it off on all of the channels. Yep. Okay, so let's just give this a listen so you can hear what it sounds like with no processing whatsoever, just the dry vocal. Right off the bat, you can hear how there's I mean, you can barely hear it. It's and that was it's a good signal, like, but you can barely hear it. It doesn't sit in the mix at all. It doesn't have that crispy, clean shimmer sound that you want from a professional vocal. It's just a dry signal. It doesn't sound that great at all. So let's open this up and see how we can make this sound. I'm gonna just solo this vocal for right now. All right, so let's we'll just go left to right. Let's start with compression. Bump that a little bit. Find what you love and you let fate open up your eyes. Find what you love and define what you love and you let fate open up your eyes. Okay. I'm not gonna touch the grit, but you know, just for showing off the plugin. Let's give it a shot and see what it sounds like.
Define what you love, and you let fate open up your eyes.
Okay, I could see where that would be handy to you know, give it a little warmer tone, but we're just going to leave that down for now. Let's just go over to the EQ. For the higher frequencies, let's bump those a little bit. Bump that a little bit.
Define what you love, and you let fate open up your eyes.
Okay.
And I've given it up the will to make it through the
filter on there.
night. Define what you...
I like that so far. The multiplier, it's pretty intimate little part. We're not gonna double the vocal or anything, but I might mess with the width to give it a little bit more body.
Define what you love, and you let fate open up your eyes.
Ooh, wow, man! Even with just, I like barely did anything with that, and it just widened it up just a little bit to give it, to make it sound a little more full. So.
Define what you love, and you let fate open up your eyes.
I think that sounds awesome, and that's really the key here. Is I think to really master this plugin is to be subtle with it. So we're just gonna keep subtly adding effects to it. So let's go over to the echo.
Define what you love, and you let fate open up your eyes.
Damn, just a little bit really does it.
I've given it up the will to make it through the night. Define what you love,
So the lo-fi on
the
echo
eyes.
sounds great. What is it if we just go crazy with it?
Define what you love, and you let fate open up
Man,
your
so if
eyes.
you're really just trying to go for more of like effects on it and not to dial in like a main vocal, like just you can do so much with this because that sounds so clean. So you can go crazy with it, or you can just do like the subtle stuff that I was doing.
Define what you love, and you let fate open
that's
up
awesome.
your eyes.
Space is, so that's gonna be your
And I've
reverb right
given
here.
it up the will to make it through the
Make
night.
the room a little bit
Define
smaller.
what you love, and you let fate
bit of
open
reverb.
up your eyes.
Yeah.
And I've given it up the will to make it through the night.
Oh, that sounds so
Define what
crispy.
you love,
Okay,
and you let fate open up your eyes.
so that's with it on. Now, I love that it has this little bypass here, so we can just turn it off instead of going, you know, over to the plugin in Ableton or whatever DAW you're using. So let's see. This is without it.
Define what you love, and you let fate open up your eyes.
Okay, and with it.
And I've given it up the will to make it through the night. Define what
That sounds awesome. I'm super excited about that. But really, you're not going to be listening to a vocal soloed. A big part of this is getting it to sound good in the mix, and I think that's where this can really shine. So let's unsolo the vocal and see what it sounds like. This part sounds like with the actual music.
Define what you love, and you let fate open up your eyes.
It's got this output gain too. That's kind of
And
nice.
I've given it up the will to make it through the night. Define what you love, and you let fate open up your eyes.
Sounds so awesome. And you can tell the difference between, like, you can barely hear it, but there's this part going right here, right afterwards, that is running dry right now, as you can see, and you can barely even hear it when it plays.
And you let fate open up your eyes.
Yeah, it's like it's not even there. I already kind of messed with the settings on this, so I'm just going to turn both of these back on and see what it sounds like.
Define what you love, and you let fate open up your eyes. And I've given
That's awesome. So, yeah, let's look at what I did here. I actually messed with one of the presets that were on here, because there's tons of presets. It's the Joey Sturgis Country Male Vocals with effects, And I liked how this one sounded for kind of doing like this background vocal sound. I turned the lower frequencies way down. It sounds awesome. There's actually so many presets. Like, that's all the Howard Benson presets, and then I'm assuming these are, all these other producers. Like, so many presets, which is super cool. That you can just kind of start here, and it gives you a beautiful starting point.
Open up your eyes. Roller coaster and I'm not ready for the ride.
Yeah, that sounds amazing.
Through the night, define what you love.
So, yeah, let's go back to this main vocal. I barely did anything to this, and it sounds incredible. So again, let's take a listen to this main vocal with the music, with and without the plugin running again, just to give you guys a really clear idea of how much better it sounds with this plugin without really doing much of anything at all. It took me like a minute to just go from left to right through these, and I'm sure if you spent a lot longer with it, you could really dial this in to sound amazing. I mean, it already sounds amazing, but you could really take it to the next level, I'm sure.
Define what you love, and you let it open up your eyes.
Yeah.
And I've given it up the will.
Oof.
Define what you love, let it open up your eyes.
That's amazing. So yeah, just with such little effort, I went from this dry vocal that didn't really sit in the mix, or it just kind of, it was blah. It sounded bland. And just barely any effort, I went from bland to, sparkly and finished. My mind is blown. All in one plugin. CPU's not running hot at all.
Define what you love,
Yeah.
and you let it open up.
No pops and cracks like you'd get if you're running like a billion plugins on something. I'm so impressed. I'm so impressed. I already kind of went through and, like I said, edited all of these. So let's just turn them on. Kind of mix them in all together already. And let's see what this sounds like all together, all finished. Each track has an instance of Howard Benson Vocals running on it. And let's see what it sounds like all together.
Define what you love, and you let it open up your eyes. And I've given it up the will to make it through the night. I can't stand to see the signs. I'll open up my mind and see that I've gone blind. Feel I'm wasting away back home. I'm ready to go. I threw all of my cards on the table. Got one last move to show. Here we go. A little closer, closer, closer. Come a little closer, closer, closer.
And that is it, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Howard, Joey, thank you so much for the incredible plugin. Joey, I know you keep putting out some awesome stuff, and I can't wait to see what you come out with in the future.